Blog Talk Radio. Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard. Hi everyone, this is Chatting with Nat. Yes, it's Natalie Jean, and today we have the honor of having country artist Susan Hickman. Determination and passion paint the walls of country artist Susan Hickman's life, causing fans to recognize these vibrant traits undeniably inspire the way she crafts her music. While these are characteristics most acquire as they mature, they seem to be inherent in Hickman's ethereal essence. In 2010, Susan was named CMA Close-Up Who Knew to Watch in 2010 and has mastered the art of live performances. Hickman's energy, can-do attitude, and not to mention her music, has allowed her to captivate audiences with various large-scale acts such as Miranda Lambert, Dee Messina, Shenandoah, Dillon, Robert Earl Keen Daryle Singletary. This also allowed her to entertain audiences at Nashville's renowned CMA Music Festival and even at France's 23rd Annual Country Rendez-Vous Festival. Not to mention winning Texas CMA Female Vocalist of the Year in 2015. Her last two albums, self-titled release, Susan Hickman and Louder Than Words, Volume 1, were both critically acclaimed and received attention from various high-level outlets from Country Weekly, Dreamwest, and Music Row magazine. Let's give her a round of applause. Hi, Susan. How are you?
How's it going? Hey, it's good to be here.
I'm still alive in the pandemic. Crazy times. How have you been during this whole pandemic thing?
Oh my goodness, it has been the weirdest year and a half. I mean, I think everybody's kind of in the same boat. Like, what is going on in our world?
Oh my gosh, it's just one thing after the other. People can't make decisions whether you should wear your mask, not wear your mask. Even now, after, many of us have been vaccinated, now there's a new variant. And so now they're saying even though you've been vaccinated, you should wear it, because I read in the UK, even after being vaccinated, people are starting to die from the variant. So
yeah, when
we will be over all of this, I don't know. Did you do any type of live streaming during this pandemic?
I did. So I was actually out of the country on and off for like 3. I finally got back in. I think we were shut down within 2 days of me getting back, and I really didn't know what was going on, because I was, I wasn't around where watching news, traveling and all that. And I get home and I'm like, what is going on? Like, what in the world? And so, I did a show with my boyfriend. He also plays music, and we did a show, and then the very next day, everything was shut down. And so I was like, all right, I guess we're live streaming.
Yeah, that's a different experience, the whole live streaming thing. I did it for the first time this last year, several times. It's interesting, because sometimes you have a lot of people, sometimes you have a few, sometimes singing to yourself, and that's okay. You get to practice your own music. But I like the fact that it's another avenue for people to use to present their music.
Yeah, and I think that there's so many resources out there, to where, musicians can get, they can promote themselves, they can reach a whole new audience that have never seen you before. Right. And I think it's really cool. And, and even, now that we've kind of, things are starting to open back up, and we're playing shows. I mean, right. I'm so busy right now. It's crazy, but I'm doing, creating content, at home, and I'm trying to, still do some of those live stream things, because people were like, thank you so much. This is so cool. We've been wanting to, catch a show for a really long time, or you're never on our area or something like that. So it's like those people really appreciate it, and you don't really realize it until you get out there and, get out of your comfort zone. And I think it's fun.
Yeah, during the pandemic, I was contacted by this company called Sessions, and I see a lot of people post the session sitting on their Facebook like as a sponsored ad, and I had to audition for it, and I was accepted. I still haven't done the thing because I just haven't had the time, and it's basically live streaming yourself, but it's on a bigger platform where there are a lot of bands. I think you can make money off of it. I really need to dig deeper into that. So I think, live streaming is going to be a huge thing, as well as touring and the other live venues. But one of the questions I ask people, especially the people that I interview, during the pandemic, people had a chance to really think about a lot of things in their life. They had time to self-reflect. And I know a lot of times people have decided, tried to figure out who they want to be as an artist, how they want to be perceived. Do they want to change this, that, and the other? Did that happen for you? Did you have a chance to self-reflect?
I mean, we had 2 solid months of nothing. So I mean, I'm very active in everything, like all of my social media, my booking, I'm hands-on in every aspect of my career. Right. And since we didn't have anything going on, it was really strange. So I kid you not, for a solid week, I sat and I watched TV, and I never watched TV before then. And never really, I'm always, I'm always on my computer or my phone or practicing or, learning, doing content or whatever the heck. And after that initial shock kind of started wearing off, it's like, okay, everybody's in the same boat, and I think it gave us time to kind of, I had a lot of really cool things that were going on, and, we had planned for that year. And, I've been playing music for 21 years. And so at that 20-year mark, I'm like, okay, cool. There's some really cool stuff starting to happen, and, we're slowly, making that uphill climb and all of that. And then when everything was canceled, we're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And so it was kind of like one of those things where it's like, okay, as soon as this thing opens back up, we're going to hit the ground running. We're going to hit it hard again. We're going to, try to recoup some of that, some of that momentum that we had going, in the beginning of last year. So, I think I did a lot of thinking. I did a lot of thinking anyway, but I did a lot of planning. I did a lot of education type of stuff, with marketing and and stuff like that. So
no, I get it. Go ahead.
No, I mean, I think I tried to use my time wisely, because I was like, okay, I haven't had a vacation in probably 20 years. Ooh. So I'm going to use this time to actually, I'm going to use it to sit and do some of the things that I've been wanting to do for a long time. I mean, obviously some of those things couldn't happen because we were all shut down and we couldn't do anything. But I was able to, further education on, things that would further my career. I got into, some pretty complex video editing and, some music editing and, and of course those marketing classes and stuff that I took, which was, I think, invaluable, because I mean, we, as musicians, we have to be self-promoters too, so I think it all helped.
Yeah, like you, I did a lot of conferences. Oh my God, webinars, Zooms on music, marketing, TikTok, you name it. I did. TikTok is just, it's crazy all the stuff that you can do on there. They're like, oh yeah, just post 5 videos a day, and I'm like, who has time for that? That's just, I can understand why they want people to do that, but it's just that's a lot of time and effort. And
that's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and I get you. We as musicians, we have to be on all these platforms, and it can get pretty frustrating. So how do you manage all of your social media and your website? That takes a lot of organization, trying to figure out what do I post today.
It does, and sometimes it comes very easy. It's like, oh, okay, we had some really great shows, and there's a lot of content that was, that was posted. A lot, photographers, videographers come out, and they take wonderful pictures, and they do all this, great stuff. So sometimes we have really cool stuff to post, and it's not something that you have to really think much about. But then there's those other times where it's like, okay, I need to post a reel, or I need to post a IGTV, or I need to get back on my schedule for my YouTube series. And I was supposed to start this series like last month, and I've completely been just completely crazy with my schedule. So I'm like, okay. And then the thought process happens where I get overwhelmed, and then I'll sit there thinking about all the things that I need to do and then not get anything done.
It's almost like I'm talking to myself right now, because you've explained my whole entire life just flashed in front of me, because I'm right where you are. Like, I actually got a journal to write all my to-do lists, and I'm looking. I'm like so overwhelmed at a lot of the things that, I have Sisters in Music, I have my own music, this other business, this, that, and the other. And I'm thinking, oh man, I am so far behind on a lot of things. And I'm just like, just feel like I have to get a giant calendar, just put it in my face and say, okay, today, do this, 30 minutes of this, 30 minutes of that. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Well, and I think something that has kind of helped me a little bit, like I have my Google Calendar, and I have everything kind of color coded, and I think that's kind of helped me, because like my booking is one color, my interviews are another color, my phone calls to my team, that's one color, and then I've even started putting my workouts on my calendar, because otherwise they don't get done, So, and then I need to set all of that stuff, and then my creative stuff, that's next. Like that's gonna go on the calendar, because otherwise, like I'll have some downtime. I'm like, oh cool, I don't have to do anything right now. But it's like, oh my gosh, yes, I have so much stuff to do.
I love that you talked about the working out thing. So, in December, I actually did get COVID, and it just knocked me out. I still have lingering effects from that, but one of the things that I go, obviously, is because I couldn't, was working out. And working out used to teach boot camp, a spin class and water aerobics and all this stuff. And then when all that stuff hit, I just couldn't do it anymore. And then after a while, I was able to work out again, but I was lagging. And now I put the work is the most important thing for me, because I'm like, oh my God, my butt's not going to be able to get out of this house, and it's just going to be ugly. And so, I truly had to make it a priority, to the point that I got a Peloton bike. And that has been... Oh, nice. Yes, that has been my lifesaver. I'm never going back to the gym, let me tell you. The thing has, you can meditate, you can do boot camp, you can obviously the cycling thing, there's so many different things that you can do on the Peloton, and it's been a wonderful experience. I actually do it 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the evening, because I'm just a freak like that. But it's crazy. But yes, prioritize. I love it. I'm taking some cues from you. Now, how would you describe your music?
Well, it's country music. Obviously, like I'm an artist from Texas, so I have the Texas, the Texas country music scene and all of that. But I would say that it's more traditionally inspired. I don't think it's not mainstream country by any means, but in some markets it'll fit into mainstream country. But I like to take kind of the traditional approach to my music. I grew up listening to like Merle Haggard and Keith Whitley, and I listened to the music that my parents listened to. So I have all these weird, different influences like Stevie Nicks, and then my mom listened to like Motown and oldies type of stuff. So I listened, to Whitney Houston and Aretha Franklin, and all of that kind of stuff, like the R&B stuff. And so I have all these different influences that just kind of mesh together. But ultimately, I play country music, and it's more of a traditional type of feel.
All righty. Now, what point in your life were you like, whoa, I have got to do this music thing? Was it a performance? Was it something that you were watching on TV? Was it something that you were listening to that you're like, oh, my God, I got to be part of this scene?
There's a lot of different moments in my life where I've always been very musical. From as as young as about 3 years old, where I can actually kind of, remember I was writing songs. I was, I was singing to my sister, while my mom would be cleaning the house. And I think really when it actually, like, when it hit me where, like, I can pursue a music career, obviously, like, I was in love with Garth Brooks. His concerts were incredible, and the energy and the kind of impact that he had on an audience, that was huge for me. And that's one of my early on influences. I'm like, okay, I can totally do this. But I think I was 12. I was 11 or 12 when LeAnn Rimes came out, and I saw her for the first time on one of the award shows. And she was singing Unchained Melody. She was wearing a red dress. And I remember I was completely enamored by the fact that she was so young, because she was only a couple years older than me when she came out. And I was like, well, if I can do that, I can do that.
Right.
So I told my mom, I was like, I have to do this. Like, I want to do music for a career. This is what I want to do. And she said, okay, well, just, show me that this is what you really want to do. And to me, I didn't really know what that meant, so I got in the phone book right after that, and I started calling talent agencies like the entire next day. I made phone call after phone call until I had a full day schedule, and I took it to my mom and I said, okay, here you go. This is what we're doing tomorrow. She's
wow.
Like, oh my gosh.
Well, you showed that you were serious. That's for sure.
Uh-huh.
Awesome,
I mean,
though.
I didn't really know what she meant by it, but I guess she was like, "Oh, okay, I take some initiative."
Wow. How important is it to you that people see you as an authentic and real artist?
I mean, it's super important. I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty authentic and real person, music aside. So I want people to hear my music and identify with me. Like I'm just like everybody else, I mean, I have feelings, and I use music to, as therapy to get, things off my chest. And because I write from a very personal standpoint. I mean, most of my songs are real life events of either myself or people that were close to me. So I think it's very important that people, they can come up and talk at a show, or they can reach out on Facebook or Instagram, send me a message. I mean, I love reading that kind of stuff, and I love, interacting with people that really enjoy my music. I think it's super important.
Now, how did you feel about the whole women in country thing, where, one woman was being played to 25 to 50 male artists in the country music scene, which is crazy to me. It's music. There shouldn't be a gender thing with music. I will never understand that. So do you think we're making strides with that in the country music scene?
This is a conversation that has been coming up over and over and over lately. Mm-hmm. And it's something where it's very frustrating sometimes being a woman in the country music industry. It's a very, very male dominated industry, and I think being a woman, I think you need to just make sure that you're out there. You need to, let your presence be known. Keep asking, asking for shows. If somebody says no, just take it as not right now, and I think that's something that I've always been. I'm not a pushy person, but I like to keep asking. I like to keep fresh in people's minds. So where maybe an opportunity was like, I don't think this is going to fit right now, it may fit later on, and that goes with so many different aspects in the music industry. Like, I mean, sometimes it's radio, sometimes it's not the right song, sometimes it's not the right fit, sometimes it's the right venue, sometimes it's not the right lineup, and I have to take all of those things rather than get frustrated by them. It's like, okay, well, this is somebody's individual taste.
Right.
So if you ask like 10 people about my new single, I'm going to have 10 different opinions. I'm going to have, like, they're going to be probably all over the spectrum because everybody's ears are different, everybody's opinions are different, and, you know, their tastes vary. But as far as, like, women in the music industry, I think that we need to, for one thing, we need to support each other more. Yeah. I think that, I mean, there's strength in numbers, and I feel like I have some friends down here, you know, on the Texas music scene. We're all friends, and, you know, we try to support each other as much as we can. You know, we try to give each other, you know, hey, I met this person. They're a very good contact to have, or this venue, they have a huge fan base for female artists, and it's important to share those things with each other, because otherwise we're just out there floundering, you know, trying to do it all ourselves, because, you know, to be honest with you, the women in this industry, and especially this Texas market, because they're some of the hardest working women that I've ever met in my entire life. And it's like, I will not take no for an answer. Like, I will make it, you know. That's right. And I mean, you have to have that mindset, and you have to have that mentality. Otherwise, you're going to completely fail and get frustrated and quit.
No, you're 100% right. We're going to play your song Rewind. Tell me what that's about.
This is a song that I started writing. I was actually on the way to a writing session years ago, and it was a time in my life where I was completely overextended with every aspect of my life, with music, with, you know, personal life, with just everything. And I'm on the way to this writing session, and I get this idea in my head, like, I just wish I had a rewind button. So I could just, you know, I could rewind, and I could do things more efficiently. And so I started, you know, I turned on my voice recorder on my phone, and I started, you know, writing out all these ideas. And I get to the session, and of course the gal that I was mentoring at the time, you know, we were getting together. We were, you know, talking about music industry stuff. We were going to write a little bit. We were going to just, you know, kind of have a, you know, just a gal session, you know. And she gets there. She's late too, and I was like, okay, how are you? She's like, God, I feel like I can't catch up. I was like, okay, I think this is meant to be. I feel like I started writing this song for a reason. And I kind of told her about what I was feeling, and she's like, oh, that sounds exactly what I'm going through. I was like, you want to help me write it? And she's like, oh, of course I do. Awesome. So I was like, okay, tell me about your week. Like, tell me what's going on. You know, why can't you catch up? You know, what are you feeling? What are your emotions when you're having these days or these moments? And so she started talking, I started writing, and we came up with something pretty cool. And so I was really happy that she collaborated with me. Her name's Courtney Heiser. She's amazing. She's off in college now, and she's got a lot on her plate, and so she's not doing so much of the music thing anymore. But she's still a really, really cool talent and a really cool chick.
All right, well, we're going to play it right now. We'll have a word from our sponsor.
Hi, it's Jordan and Madison, and we're Jay Madison out of Nashville, Tennessee. We'd love to tell you about B Squared Management, artist services by artists for artists. Get your press, branding, single release, and sync success plan now at bsquaredmgmt.com. And listen up to our latest single, Down, now on Spotify.
I've gotta hurry, I'm running out of gas. If I let the wind carry me away, will my mind erase all my burdens today? It's hard to focus when I'm so far behind. Emotions are shouting so loudly in my mind. I need to rewind. I need to rewind. Please do time like it is
Great song. There's so many times I needed to rewind. My gosh. Woo, let me tell you.
Thank you.
It's been cray.
Gosh. And it's crazy since things started opening back up and we started playing again. I feel like those 2 months was like 10 years off because I'm still trying to get in the swing of things.
Me too. I feel you. If there is one person you could collaborate with or perform with, dead or alive, who would that be?
Oh, that's so hard. That's really hard. Like what? Because I have so many like musical heroes, it's crazy. I would absolutely love to play with Vince Gill.
He's a great artist. That's a good one.
He is a great artist. The what?
I know. I said that's a great one. He's a great artist. He's fantastic. That's a good one to choose.
Yeah, that's been on my list for a really long time, and that's like something where I'm actively actually trying to make it happen. So
good for you. Hey, there's no impossibilities in the word says possible, so do it. I'm rooting
exactly, and the thing is like the answer's always going to be no if you never ask. So
that's great, and you have to just listen. One thing we learned about the pandemic, which we already knew, is that life is short. The pandemic shows that life is really, really short. So you just got to do it. Go for it. It's not going to hurt you to try, for sure.
Mhm.
Oh my God.
Yeah, definitely.
Which one of your songs is your favorite and why?
Ooh. So I have a couple songs so we have a new record that's coming out next year, and I have a lot of songs on that record that I'm like completely in love with. But out of everything that's been released so far, probably I love Moth to a Flame. That's one of my favorite ones.
Okay.
I wrote that probably 9 years ago, maybe 10. I wrote that. I thought I was like completely in love with this person, and it turned out to be like not exactly what I thought it was going to be. And it's like, and so I started writing one day, and I don't know where a lot of it came from, but I mean, I wrote it really quick. I was sitting in my little apartment on the lake, and I finished it and I was like, hey, that's a pretty good song. But it's just one of those that I think a lot of people identify with, and they, I've over the years, people have reached out and they're like, man, I really love this song. Like, it really helped me get through this breakup. And I'm like, oh, okay. And they're like, we're really so happy that we're not the only ones that feel like this. And so that means a lot. And we did really, really good, in Texas. It did really good on the charts. And I think a lot of people heard it, and it was a really, really positive response. So
awesome. Well, that was a perfect segue because we're going to play that song right now.
Cool.
When it came to you
into it, and I can see how people can relate. It's funny because I keep telling people what the audience members are craving is authenticity. They want somebody that they can relate to. You know, they want to feel like, oh my God, I can turn on Susan Hickman and she'll just get me through my day. You know, I don't poo-poo on all the mainstream artists out there because some of their music is great, but I think people are just craving the real. You know, after the past 6 years, I think people just want the truth and honesty and realness in their lives.
Yeah. And I think that, like, since I do write from a very, you know, kind of more of a personal, like, I'm a songwriter, but like, I have a hard time like making up different scenarios, you know, like, and thinking, you know, so I've got to at least have like that personal experience or know somebody that's going through something. Like I wrote a song about a friend of mine years ago, and like I started writing this song about her situation, but I was actually kind of going through the same thing at the time, and it's like it's a therapy session for me, you know. It's like I can get all my thoughts out on paper, and then, you know, and then when I sing it, it's like that's like my closure and my recovery process. It's very strange, but it works, I guess.
No, I totally get it. It is for me because I always, you know, my writing is a social impact message song, so I dig deep, and they're all very personal to me. So I get where you're coming from. You're also with B Squared Management, aren't you?
I am, yes.
And how has that experience been?
It's been great. The gals are awesome. They're so sweet. I mean, we talk a couple of times a week, and you know they've been really cool. I haven't been with them for very long, but they're very, very sweet, and I feel like they're a good little team.
Yeah, I started out with them last year. Actually during the pandemic. They're the ones that I became really good friends with Birdie Pro, and she's like, you need to get on TikTok. Because Natalie did not want to do that mess for the longest time. I'm like, oh my gosh. Come up with, and so, you know, I've done videos of my songs, and I put my kittens on there, and, you know, do some silly stuff. But I don't have time to do 5 videos a day. And she's like, oh, then you have to do these reels. I'm like, yeah.
I know. That's what I'm going through right now. I'm trying to get all this new content for all these platforms, and and I know what to do. It's just the fact of like, okay, it's like I played 4 or 5 shows this week. I don't think that I want to put on makeup and like try to look professional in my little home studio and you know,
right?
It's a struggle sometimes, but I mean, I know it has to be done, and I'm going to sit down and I'm going to make some clips from, you know, some live content that we have, and I'm going to kind of plan some stuff out so I can, you know, I don't have to think about it so much. That's the thing, like the thinking and the planning. Since I'm a very creative person, like I have a hard time just like throwing something together and then putting it out there for the world, because like we want it to be the best that it can possibly be.
Right.
But it's sometimes that real spontaneous stuff, it's ridiculous. Like that's what people want, and it's like, okay, they want the real, like you said. They want to see, you know, unrehearsed, unscripted,
right.
And sometimes that's hard for me to do.
I mean, recently I did one because NBC decided to remove one of my favorite shows, or they decided to cancel Manifest, and it left with a huge cliffhanger. And one of my pet peeves is when these networks decide to, I mean, you invest all this time watching a show, and then they're just like, oh, we're going to cancel it, and so you'll never know the answer. So
yeah.
Well, I'm doing a video for Twitter. I'm going to put it on Reels. I'm going to put it on TikTok and just explain how I feel about this, because it's ridiculous. But it gave me a reason to put something on TikTok. What is the one thing that you wish you had known before you got into the music industry?
That's a tough one. I honestly, I kind of don't ever wish that I would have known things ahead of time, because I don't think that I would be the person that I am now with all the, like I've struggled my way through a lot of this stuff because I didn't know a lot about the music industry. So my mom and I actually, whenever we decided that we were going to do this, we went to the library and we checked out every single book that we could find on the music industry, like from recording to legal stuff to contracts to A&R people. We read until we were just blue in the face. Like we probably sat and read for like 6 months.
That's smart though.
And it is because my mom, I was so young at the time, but like my mom and my dad, my parents are awesome. They were very nurturing, and they really knew that I wanted to do this. So my mom, she was like, okay, well, we're going to do this, and we're going to treat it like a business, and we're going to make this, we're going to do this right. It's not all about talent. So I think that I kind of, I'm not even saying that I was always good. Like I struggled to become halfway decent, I mean, like what you hear now, just hours and hours and hours and hours and years of, trial and error and trying to figure out what my sound was and, how to write a decent song, heck, even how to play the guitar worth a darn, but doing all of that stuff and working so hard at the craft and thinking that, like, I'd have these moments. It's like, oh, why didn't they like this? I mean, it's good. Sometimes it has nothing to do with it, and really the sad, hard truth is that most of the people out there that make it, they don't make it because they're talented and they're good and they've got great music. It's a lot of other factors and it's a lot of other things. But not to say that to discourage people from, if you're good, I mean, you can figure out, you can learn if you're open to learning, and it's a lot of hard work. I think a lot of people think that it's this glamorous lifestyle and it's all the lights and the cameras, and it's totally not.
No, it isn't. No, it isn't.
I'm speaking to the choir. It's I don't know. It's funny, but also somebody that does something that I know nothing about whatsoever, I probably think that their life is, completely different too. So, it's all a perception thing, I think.
I agree. So what's one quote or message you like to live by?
Just go out and do your best every single solitary day. I mean, and if you really want to be somewhere and do something, whether it's a career, whether it's anything, if you don't change your thinking, nothing is going to change whatsoever. I mean, you have to. I'm constantly putting little Post-it notes around my house, to stay positive and to reinforce that positivity and that positive thinking. That's super, super, super important in any industry, in any career path, in any aspect in life. You have to stay positive, because I'm a very positive person anyway, but obviously we get down on ourselves sometimes, and it's like, golly, I wish that this would have gone a little bit different. But I think everything happens for a reason, for sure. And, if a door doesn't open right this second, it's because I think something better is going to come along down the road.
Amen, amen. And what is coming up for you before we leave the show?
Oh, I have a new single that is coming out on Friday. So midnight Thursday night, midnight Friday morning. I have a new song coming out. It's called A Dream. And super, super excited about it. If you go to my Instagram, it's Susan Hickman Music. The link is in the bio, so where you can pre-save details about the release party, and we're filming a video on a Thursday for that song. So we're gonna have this big old party, and it's also my birthday, so I'm really excited. So we've got that coming up. I've got a bunch of really cool shows coming up, and my tour schedule's on my website, and we're just beating the streets, trying to get out there and
You're saying
keep doing it. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Susan, for being on Chatting with Nat. I'm so glad we finally got the opportunity to do this.
Thank you.
With our schedules, it was And I'll be following you on Instagram and everywhere else. And then we definitely have to do an IG Live and set that up sometime when you have time and do our thing.
Yes, of course.
All right. Well,
absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank you. I hope you have an awesome day and an awesome week. And that was Susan Hickman. You got to follow her. Find her, www.susanhickman.com. Until next time, this was Chatting with Nat.
Chatting with Nat is a podcast for independent women seeking to speak their truth and to break down barriers. We host honest conversations that help to guide and empower women. Speak your truth and set yourself free. Let your voice be heard.